Science just proved pop music is actually getting worse, so parents everywhere can say, told you so. Scientists prove that pop music is literally ruining our brains. An analysis of why modern music is so awful. Everything has started with this article from 2012, measuring the evolution of contemporary Western popular music. The authors used the Million Song dataset, the largest research dataset with the million popular contemporary songs. Data contains metadata and audio analysis for a million songs on a musical intelligence platform, the Econest. The Econest takes quite a bit twist later on, but we will come back to that in a moment. So article takes a look at 3 different parameters: pitch variation, timbre variation, and dynamic range. Producers who are watching this video probably got triggered when they heard dynamic range is a measure of quality of a track. Dynamic range has little or nothing to do with the quality of a song. In some cases, you may actually enjoy less dynamic range more. Let's try an experiment. Listen to these drum loops. Which one do you prefer? They have a cool loudness but different dynamic range. I did this experiment a couple of months ago, and actually most people enjoy the second and the third one, which has less dynamic range than the first one. So using dynamic range as a measure of quality doesn't make sense at all, so let's just ignore that. But we had 2 more parameters. I have engineering and science background, so my curiosity got me, and I dived deep into the timbre analysis. The parameter for the timbre was just the frequency response of each discrete segment. Very roughly, it's like creating this type of frequency response curves for each segment for each track. However, this parameter alone is too limited to accurately define the timbre of a song. This will be interesting. Let me show you. I want to take a look at these 2 different frequency responses. They look almost identical. The first one is my own track. Sounds like this. And the second one is this. This is the reason why a single parameter is not enough to define a timbre response of a track. On the contrary, I would argue that modern songs are actually richer in timbre, because we now have access to endless libraries of instruments and can add a million different sounds, which was impossible 40 years ago. All in all, this part of the research I would really call misleading. This argument goes back into the trash. The model for pitch and harmony is more solid, and my personal experience also tells me that simplification of harmonic content is likely true, but the quality of a song is not determined by its level of complexity. Minimalism and maximalism is 2 different approaches that swing back and forward in the history. Arguing that a song is worse because it has simpler harmony is just ignorant. Ultimately, a well-crafted song could be achieved by any means, regardless of its harmonic complexity. So the argue about the pitch also goes into the trash can. This video is made possible by my online courses, samples, and preset packs. If you are looking for latest and greatest sounds of electronic music, or if you are looking for online courses to help you improve your production game, take a look at them. They can be quite helpful. My biggest problem with this article is that it ignores important aspects of music such as context and structure. So as a producer and engineer, this article doesn't make much sense, so we can all just ignore it. But why boomers are keep telling us music was better before? And more importantly, why 33% of the people who voted in my poll last week thinks that the music was better in the past? I decided to dig deeper. Buckle up. After reading tons of research papers, listening to the news, and thinking about it many days, I think I found 3 reasons why people think that the music was better before. Do you see that? Right here? It wasn't there a couple of years ago. In fact, think about how many wrinkles that I got here. So this is the most interesting research I've found. It is about the effect of the aging on neural representation of musical harmony. Idea is super straightforward. They took 2 groups of people. In one group, everybody was older than 40 years old, and other group, everybody was younger than 40 years old. They played a couple of notes, and they played some chords on top of that. Some of the chords were in key, and some of them was dissonant. And then they asked the group if the chord was pleasant. So when they play the dissonant chords, they expect people to say that it was unpleasant. And the results were very interesting. For the older people, their rate of identifying the dissonant chords were lower. Extremely simply put, the older you get, the more things start to sound similar to you. So it seems like science finally figured out why our boomer parents always complaining that everything sounds the same. So next time when they start complaining, remember it's not their fault. If you are enjoying video up to now, please consider like and subscribe. The second reason is about democratization of the music. Let's take this example, and let's say we are in 80s. These cubes right over here represents the recording artists. The first thing that you notice, there are not many because of the cost of recording studio or the gear needed in the music. So these people wants to move through different gates and reach to their listeners. The first thing that happens is the gatekeepers. These are mostly people recording for labels, and they try to find out best songs and the best artists. So let's say these are the good tracks and these are the bad tracks. So the gatekeepers acts as a filter. Not everything goes past the release stage. So what happens that some of them ends up released. But you see, it doesn't mean that these tracks will be heard by the listeners. We have another line over here, the radio and TV. Only a bunch of them really get featured by radio and TV, which kind of ensures that most of the songs that are heard on TV and the radio is actually good songs because they have to go through all these steps. But that also means that a lot of tracks left behind, which means there could be gems like this that never reach the listener. Change the year and go to 2023. The first difference is this: there are millions of songs ready to be released simply because recording is much easier and you don't need to buy any gear. And these gatekeepers over here, they are mostly gone. So most of these tracks can be released. And the second big thing, we don't need radio or TV either. The main driver in this age is social media and algorithms. That means we are exposed tons of different songs. And of course, there are a lot of bad tracks in this pile. And a lot of people really focus to see only these ones and ignore these. Final point. So I'm into the deep research, I'm going to the different articles, and this term comes over and over again all the time. It's an academic term that describes our willingness to explore new music. And I read through a couple of different articles, and there are like experiments. According to those experiments, young people has higher open-earedness, which means that they go out of their way and try to explore new songs or new genres or new music. But the older you get, the less open-eared you are. It's harder for you to get out of your way and try to explore new songs or new genres. I almost find this analogy like, if you think about it, when you are young, it's much easier to make new friends. And the older you get, the harder it becomes to make new friends, and it takes much more effort. And even the friends that you make actually not as strong as the friends that you made when you are younger. And I think this last reason, probably the biggest reason why some people really think that the music was better before, because those connections that they made when they listened to music for the first time, those were much stronger, and repetition of the same feelings, the same connection is much harder for them now. So, the twist. So if you remember the article that we dismissed, the source of the data that they used was actually Econest, an data analytics platform specifically tailored for music analysis. The Econest, they continue to data mine the music. In around 2016, they had more than 30 million songs tagged, and their tagging algorithm were even more advanced and more detailed. Here's the twist. In 2014, Spotify actually acquired the Econest by paying 50 million euros. And most of the Spotify algorithms actually build upon the Econest. All of the personalized playlists that you are listening on Spotify, driven by the Econest algorithm. Your Discover Weekly, created by using Econest. And then apparently Econest created an internal tool for Spotify that is called Truffle Pick, used in Spotify to create playlists by the mood or occasions. And even the playlists that are created by the editors, for example, your favorite coffee house and Thank God It's Friday, those are available thanks to Econest and Truffle Pick. I really don't know what to do with this information. I just want to chime in and tell about it. But if you want to see more videos about music production and music itself, take a look at here. I have a couple of videos for you.